So there was out of high school, trying to find my first job, and I just hit pause on my journey to study English for a little bit because I had some things to care about on my own life. I was like 18, trying to, college. Am I going to college? Am I going to work? The kind of things that most people here in Brazil have to deal with because I don't know. I am under the impression that in the US, you guys like off, right, off high school and into college. I don't know if you guys are into the summer job thing or a regular job while in college.
Yeah. At least in my experience in the US, you finish high school. If you plan to go to college, it's pretty much immediate. Like there's no decision making process. You already made that decision in high school. And then during the summers, normally you are trying to do some kind of internship or something to increase your experience for your CV.
Yeah, here in Brazil we have this tech school thing
Hmm.
that we had young kids that are either out of high school or in the last years or more common in the last year of high school, and they do this tech school thing for
Hmm.
anyway preparing them for the market, for working with something. I'm gonna do a tech course about IT, about engineering. It's
Right.
it's less than college, but can get you a job. It's
Right. I think in the US, we have a very similar concept. Normally, we call these community colleges, but they're based more on like valuable skills. Like, hey, learn how to be a carpenter or learn how to be an engineer. And you do it for 2 years. So people will actually pay you money to do those things.
oh cool. Well, so I entered a tech school to learn about information technology.
Hmm.
To
IT. Yep.
yes, to be a web programmer, to be more specific. And right there we had English was one of the subjects. They called, if I'm not mistaken, they called tech technical English, I think. It was
Yeah.
basically English, but centered on the subject of the course, like IT and programming and computers and things like that. So we could be more comfortable with the vocabulary around computer science.
Right.
And it was in that point that I thought, man, this is the opportunity for me to start improving my English. I'm studying English again after I don't know, maybe two. I think it was 2 years or 1 year after I finished high school, something like that. And I have more. Well, I don't have more. I didn't have more time because I was working and studying at the same time. I had less time actually, but I had this desire to use the opportunity of studying English again and to improve my English. And it
Yeah.
was at that time that I started to realize that if I wanted to improve my English, I had to do it more or less like I learned Portuguese.
Yep.
I could not like hope that in day one in an English class they would teach me how to flex verbs or you know I I said flex verb because this is, I think this is the most traumatizing thing that I can remember of me studying English. It's something I have no recollection whatsoever how to do it. I was
When you say flex verbs, what do you mean?
I don't remember the correct term.
To conjugate verbs?
Yes, that's exactly what I
Yeah.
meant.
Yeah.
And I think I just remember simple past. And I'm saying about the name. I'm not even saying about the conjugation.
Right.
I'm saying about
Right.
the name. I can't even remember them all because my grammar is that good. And and I started to work from that point. I would not get too far if I start to worry about grammar.
Yeah.
So what I did basically was to realize that I needed to gain vocabulary, to know more and more words. And I was like, how can I do this? What I basically used was songs, English songs and lyrics a lot,
Mm-hmm.
trying to sing the song and stress on trying, please. But at some point, singing the songs and trying to follow the lyrics wasn't doing enough. So I thought, that's it. I gotta read. I gotta start reading because
Okay. Can I stop you there just for a
yes,
second, Ismael? Just to give a recap. You had a relatively traditional experience going through English schools, not really making too much progress.
yeah,
But I think there are a couple of really important things to highlight in your story. Number one, you went through this process, and it seems like at different stages you were having kind of thoughts like, maybe this isn't necessarily working. And it wasn't until after college when you're studying IT when the stars kind of aligned for you to say, okay, this is another chance to do this, and I have to do it in a different way. So it took you a long time to get to that point.
yes,
And I think that's worth noting. I also think it's worth noting that you took a break for a couple years from English, just because I think a lot of our students have the kind of had the idea in their heads that, oh, I've tried to study English, I'm not good at it, or I studied, but then I stopped for 2 years, so it's going to be really hard to start again. But all of those things are just kind of ideas that we tell ourselves. In reality, you just need kind of the right circumstances to give you that extra push to really make yourself want to do it.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah, totally.